A poor garbage collector helped an old man across the street. What he didn't know, that old man's son was a billionaire, and he was about to get the biggest thank you of his life. The dawn in the city of Meridian was not a gentle awakening, but a mechanical cough. It began with the groan of distant trucks and the shudder of metal bins hitting concrete. In this symphony of urban renewal, Leo moved as a quiet note. At 19, his world was measured in roots and tons. His uniform, a faded orange high-vis vest over patched clothes, was a second skin, smelling perpetually of detergent and dust. His hands, gloved and permanently lined with grime, were his tools. His kingdom was the back streets of the financial district, where yesterday's champagne bottles lay shattered beside yesterday's dreams. Leo's life was a tight calculus of necessity. Every coin from recycling went into a rusty tin hidden under his bed, a meager fund for his ailing mother's medicine. His dreams, once of college and clean hands, had been compacted long ago, smaller and harder, tucked away like a precious forgotten scrap. He walked with his head down, not in shame, but in a focused survival that blinded him to the skyscraping towers above. One such morning, a slow, cold drizzle descended, turning the gray streets into slick mirrors. Leo was finishing his route on Wellington Avenue, a broad, brutal street where traffic flowed like a relentless, icy river. As he heaved the final bag into the compactor, a flash of movement caught his eye. At the edge of the curb, an old man stood, frozen. He was elegant in a way that seemed out of place, wearing a simple but beautifully tailored wool coat, now dark with rain. He gripped a polished mahogany cane, not for style but for desperate support, his knuckles white. His face was etched with confusion and a tinge of fear as cars rushed past, their drivers insulated behind glass, blind to his silent struggle. The pedestrian light blinked a futile red, a mechanical heart ignoring a human need. People streamed past, suits with umbrellas, students with headphones, lives in parallel lanes. They saw him, and then they didn't. He was a statue in their reign, a part of the city's furniture. Leo's body moved before his mind could calculate the delay. He set down his bin lid with a soft clang and crossed the pavement. "Sir," he said, his voice softer than the rain, "let's get you across." The old man startled, his eyes a clear, intelligent blue widening. They flickered over Leo's grimy vest, his worn boots, and then settled on his face. The fear melted into profound, weary relief. I seem to have lost my bearings," the man confessed, his voice cultured but thin. "Happens to the best of us," Leo said, offering his arm, not his hand, conscious of the dirt. The man grasped it with a strength that belied his frailty. Together, they stepped into the street. Leo raised his free arm, a solid, unflinching stop sign to the oncoming traffic. A taxi honked, but Leo held his ground, his gaze steady. He positioned himself slightly ahead, shielding the man from the spray of a passing bus. The cold rain soaked through Leo's hair, tracing clean lines through the dust on his neck, but he didn't feel it. His entire being was focused on the slow, careful steps, the weight on his arm, the safe expanse of the opposite curb. When their feet found solid ground, the old man released a long, shaky breath. "Thank you, young man. In my day, one didn't have to wage war to cross a road." He studied Leo, his eyes missing nothing. "You're soaked." "Dries fast," Leo shrugged, a small smile touching his lips. "You all right from here? Need directions?" No. My son is coming. He's perpetually coming." There was a fond exasperation in his tone. Before Leo could nod and retreat back to his world, the old man's hand tightened on his arm. "What's your name?" "Leo." "Sir." "Leo," the man repeated, as if tasting the word. "A good, strong name. I am Alistair. Remember, Leo, the world measures a man not by the cleanliness of his hands, but by the courage of his heart. Don't let this city rust yours." The words, simple and direct, struck Leo with a force that left him silent. Right on cue, a Rolls-Royce so sleek and black it seemed to absorb the gray light, glided to the curb. A chauffeur emerged with an umbrella, his face a mask of professional concern. "Mr. Thorne, there you are." Alistair gave Leo's arm a final pat. "Thank you, Leo." He was helped into the luxurious cabin of the car, and he purred away, leaving Leo standing in the rain, a single warm point in the chill. He shook his head, a wry laugh escaping him, a kind old man with a rich son, a nice moment. He pulled his damn collar up and went back to his truck, the bin, the route. He never saw the car's discreet, custom license plate, Thorne 1. He had no idea that the hand he had steadied was the one that had built half the skyline he cleaned beneath, or that the man he'd called Alistair was Alistair Thorne, the reclusive patriarch of the Thorne dynasty, whose son, Caelan Thorne, was the Wolf of Meridian, a billionaire whose name was synonymous with ruthless empire building. The ripples in the still water. Inside the car, Alistair Thorne sat quietly, a subtle smile on his lips. Across from him, his son Caelan was a storm contained in Italian wool. At 35, Caelan's intensity was a physical presence. He was scrolling through financial feeds on a tablet, his jaw tight, the city's reflection flitting across his sharp, unsmiling features. "You're late," Caelan said, not looking up. "The doctor said no unaccompanied walks." "And missed the morning air?" Alistair replied, his eyes on the rainy window where Leo had stood. "Caelan, I met a remarkable young man today." Caelan finally glanced up, a flicker of impatience in his blue eyes. "Who?" "Another aspiring hedge fund manager, a rubbish collector. He helped me cross Wellington in the rain. Didn't hesitate, didn't look for a camera. He just saw a person who needed help and gave it." Alistair's voice grew soft with wonder. His hands were filthy, son, but his heart was absolutely spotless. Caelan set the tablet down slowly. His father was not a sentimental man. For him to speak like this, what was his name? Leo. Just Leo. Alistair sighed, a gentle sound of regret. "I was so taken, I forgot to ask more." The name hung in the air. Leo. Caelan stared out at the streaming city. A rubbish collector, an anonymous speck in the machine he commanded. Yet, his father's tone, it held a note of respect. Caelan rarely heard directed at anyone, even himself. "Just Leo," Caelan echoed, the words feeling strange in his mouth. For the rest of the ride, the financial data on his screen held no meaning. The next day, in the sun-drenched conservatory of the Thorne penthouse, Alistair was still. He watched sparrows flit on the terrace, but his mind was on the boy in the rain. The boy's quiet strength, his unassuming dignity, it was a relic, a treasure found in the gutter. "Caelan," Alistair said as his son strode in, already on a conference call. Caelan held up a finger, finished the call with a curt, "Handle it," and turned his full attention to his father, a rare act of deference. The boy, "Leo, I wish to thank him properly." Caelan nodded, his mind switching gears from mergers to manhunts. "Wellington Avenue. Yesterday morning, a rubbish collector named Leo." He pulled out his phone, not calling an assistant, but his head of security, Silas. "Silas, I need you to find someone, discreetly." Within hours, the efficient machinery of Thorne Wealth was in motion. Silas, a man who could find a missing comma in a 1,000-page contract, had his team review street camera footage, obtained through entirely legal city contracts for security logistics, and make quiet, respectful inquiries with city sanitation. By evening, Caelan's phone buzzed. "Sir, we found him. Leo Marin. Works for Metro Sanitation. Route 7. Mother is Maria Marin, currently under care for chronic pulmonary issues at Mercy General. He lives in the Bramble Court apartments. Clean record, well liked by his foreman, Leo Marin." The name now had weight, a history. Caelan stood at his floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the ant-like traffic. "He cares for his sick mother?" "Yes, sir." Appears to be her sole support. Caelan ended the call. He pictured it. the grind, the struggle, the constant wait. And yet, the boy had stopped. He had chosen kindness while carrying that weight. It was an equation Kalen's ruthless logic couldn't immediately solve. Well, Alistair asked from his armchair. We found him, Kalen said. His name is Leo Marin. He relayed the brief sketch of Leo's life. Alistair's eyes grew moist. You see, bearing that, and still offering an arm to a stranger. We must not embarrass him, Kalen. No limousines at his work. A proper invitation. I'll have Silas deliver a message tomorrow. A meeting here on neutral, respectful ground. The door to another world. 2 days later, Leo was trudging out of the metro sanitation depot, his body aching with the good, honest fatigue of physical labor. The evening was clear, the air washing the day's smells from the city. He was mentally calculating if the extra bin collection bonus would cover the new prescription when he saw him. A man in a dark, elegant suit stood beside a discreet but unmistakably expensive sedan. He wasn't a cop. He carried himself with a stillness that spoke of controlled power. As Leo approached, the man stepped forward. Mr. Marin? His voice was neutral, polite. Leo stopped, instantly wary. Yeah? My name is Silas. I represent Alistair Thorne. He would be honored if you would join him for tea tomorrow afternoon. He offered a thick, cream-colored envelope, not a phone or a card. Leo took it, bewildered. Thorne. The name buzzed in the back of his mind. A name from news tickers and mega construction sites. He opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note on exquisite paper. Dear Leo, I will be delighted if you would allow me to express my gratitude in person. If you are agreeable, Silas will collect you at 3 p.m. You showed me great kindness. I hope to return a little of the same. Sincerely, Alistair Thorne. The handwriting was elegant, old-fashioned. This was real. The old man was a thorn. The following afternoon, after a shift spent in a daze, Leo stood clean and in his only pair of presentable trousers as Silas drove him not to an office, but through the gilded gates of the Sterling Heights estate. The mansion wasn't a house, it was a monument. Leo felt his breath shorten, his humble clothes seeming to shrink on his body. Inside, the grandeur was overwhelming a museum of quiet wealth. And then, Alistair Thorne was there, walking toward him with a warm, familiar smile that cut through the opulence. Leo, you came. He clasped Leo's hand in both of his, ignoring any difference in their stations. Come, let's sit. They settled in a library that smelled of old books and lemon oil. Alistair poured tea himself. Tell me about yourself, Leo. Haltingly at first, then with growing ease, Leo spoke, not of self-pity, but of simple facts. His mom, his job, his routine. He spoke of the quiet satisfaction of a clean street, the camaraderie of his depot. Alistair listened, truly listened, as if Leo was describing high finance. Then a door opened, and the air changed. Kalen Thorne entered. He was taller up close, his presence a wave of intense, focused energy. He wore a simple black sweater and trousers, but they might as well have been armor. His gaze went to his father's relaxed smile, then to Leo, assessing, calculating, but not unkindly. Leo, this is my son, Kalen, Alistair said. Leo stood instinctively, feeling utterly exposed. Sir, Kalen offered a hand. His grip was firm, dry, brief. My father hasn't stopped talking about you. His voice was deeper than Leo expected, devoid of warmth, but not of intent. Sit, please. Saturday. An awkward silence stretched. Kylan's eyes never left Leo, a disconcerting, intelligent scrutiny. You help your mother, Kylan stated. Yes, sir. And you work Route 7. Heavy commercial, the hardest shift. Pays the best, Leo said simply. Kylan gave a single, slow nod. He glanced at his father, a silent communication passing between them. Alistair leaned forward. Leo, Kalen runs the Thorne Foundation. We fund hospitals, community programs, scholarships. We are always looking for the right people. People who understand the ground, not just the boardroom. Leo's heart began to thump. I'm not sure I understand, sir. Kalen spoke now, his words precise. We're offering you a position, Assistant Director of Community Outreach for the Foundation. You would be the liaison between our projects and the neighborhoods they serve. You would assess real needs on the ground. Your salary would be $85,000 a year with full medical for you and your mother. The numbers hung in the air. Astronomical, impossible. Leo's vision swam. I have no degree, no experience in that. You have a PhD in reality, Alistair said gently. You have integrity. We can teach you spreadsheets. We cannot teach a man to care. Kalen stood and walked to a desk, retrieving a folder. He placed it before Leo. It was a formal contract, a job offer with the Thorn Foundation seal. This is real, Leo, not charity, an investment. My father believes you have a rare quality. I trust his judgment more than any market analysis. Tears, hot and shameful, pricked Leo's eyes. He blinked them back furiously, looking from the frail, kind old man to the formidable, unreadable son. This was the crossroads of myth, happening in a sunlit library, all because he'd offered his arm in the ring. With a trembling hand, he reached out and touched the folder. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Alistair whispered, his own eyes bright. Leo took a deep, shuddering breath, the scent of old books and future promise filling his lungs. Yes. A genuine, startling smile broke through Kalen Thorne's impassive facade. It transformed his face, revealing a man, not just a monument. Good. Welcome to the Foundation, Leo. As Silas drove him home that night, Leo clutched the folder to his chest. The city lights streamed by, the same lights he'd always seen from below. But tonight, he was seeing them from the other side. He thought of his mother's face when he told her. He thought of clean hands holding a pen, not a bin. The world had not changed, but his place in it had been utterly, irrevocably rewritten. The kindness he'd given without thought had returned to him not as a coin, but as a key.